You're watching Artist on Record, your ultimate intimate conversation with your favorite artist. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notifications tab so you don't miss future episodes. Well, after 51 years, the original Alice Cooper Band is back with a brand new album. Click on the icon right here to pre-order that now. It'll be out in July. We have Dennis Dunaway, founding member bassist for the band. He's going to chat with us today about the new music and other great tales. Put your hands together for a rock and roll legend. It all starts now. Don't touch that dial. Well, man, you know what? I'm glad you're here, and thanks for taking some time to talk with me and my audience. And The Revenge of Alice Cooper, the vinyl, that'll be coming out about July 25th. But this came out of nowhere. I'm like searching on my iPhone like everybody else. All of a sudden, I see original Alice Cooper Band. They have a record out, and of course, for people listening, I'm friends with Ryan Roxy, Alice's touring guitarist for the solo band. He doesn't say nothing to me, and I'm being honest with you. You know how people will talk, whisper behind the back, oh, it's a secret, it's this. Ryan is so scared of anything, he won't say nothing to ruin the gig. So if Alice, you're listening, Ryan is not like a mumbler or fumbler. He's loyal to you. So yeah, keep him as your henchman there, Alice. But nobody knows nothing. And then I'm seeing it's coming out of nowhere. There was no real advertisement, but just popped out of bam. So tell the audience.
If you have anything to do with the Alice camp, you know you better keep your cards close to your vest.
Right. A rock and roll legend is right here in the hot seat. A founding member of the Alice Cooper group, Dennis Dunaway. Right?
But tell me about it. Yeah. We've been keeping this a secret for 2 years now.
For 2
We're ready
years.
to explode. Yeah. This was supposed to be a secret for another month. But, you know, the record company, Ear Music in Germany, sent out all of the promo stuff to various radio stations and magazines and everything. And then they were supposed to release certain things on each date, and then gradually release all of this promo stuff to lead up to the album release. So somebody in Australia released everything.
Wow.
So now all of the promos out all at once, and it throws off our strategy. But you know, still keeping a secret for this long, I'm so happy to finally be able to talk about it.
Here it comes. But you keeping it a secret for 2 years? How the hell did you do that?
Well, you know, the real miracle about it is Michael blabbed early on, way early on. And we managed to put the genie back in the bottle. And then Alice did a couple of interviews where his hints got a little heavy. And then A&E did a documentary about us and when we were recording in the recording studio. And I thought for sure that the cat was out of the bag at that point. But I think people are so sort of once bitten, twice shy, because over the years, the rumor of us doing an album has happened a couple of times and then it didn't happen. So I think that's what kind of saved it. Even still, I have people saying, is it really happening? Well, you know, have you looked at your computer lately?
It's happening. It's happening. And you know what? For everybody listening, I'll put 4 seconds of the single that's out now, Black Mamba, and links will be in the description. So you could pre-order the album right here. Check it out right here.
Come a little closer, darling. You've got nothing to fear.
Yeah. Double album, huh? It's a double album. A lot of songs on this one.
I know the song order of the songs that we recorded because I worked on it with Bob Ezrin and Max from Ear Music, the honcho there. And that was quite a job because we had a lot of songs that didn't really have necessarily a theme like some of our early days albums, but we juggled and juggled and juggled and finally got it into what I consider the perfect song order, where it goes along. It starts with the most unlikely song.
Come a little closer, darling.
and then it goes into a song that Bob Ezrin thought shouldn't be that close to the beginning of the album. And then as it turned out, it works great, as I had suggested. uh, but uh, but the album goes along, and then by like two-thirds of the way through, all of a sudden it gets more and more and more Glenn Buxton. It's great. Glenn is definitely the spirit of Glenn is on this album, loud and clear.
Loud and clear. And that's what you wanted to come and capture that, bring him back, huh?
But from the oh, he's always with us, but to make sure that it gets into the grooves, you know. So I got a call from Bob Ezrin and Alice like a couple years ago, and Alice and Michael and Neal had been out in Phoenix jamming together and stuff at Michael's studio, and they were starting to come up with some things that they liked. So Bob and Alice called me and said, "Hey, Dennis, what do you think about doing an album?" I said, "Oh, well, do you have an idea for a theme, or do you have idea for what style?" And and they're like, "Well, we're thinking, we've got a lot of, you guys have some songs, right?" I said, "I have about 30 songs, and Neal has about 30 songs. Not even talking about Michael yet. We already had enough albums for songs for a bunch of albums." But so Bob said, "Well, we'll listen to them, and we'll do the best of them." And I said, "Oh yeah, like the cream of the crop." And Alice and Bob started laughing hysterically. And I'm like, "What's so funny?" And they said, "Well, the phone cut out, but they thought I said cream of the crap." and, and they and they decided that that was going to be the title of the album and everything. The past, like I said, this sounded like it was going to happen a couple of times over in the past decades, and Alice would be all on board, excited and everything, and then it wouldn't happen. So we've kind of learned to not pop any champagne until something really up. It's always like, when we did the Christmas pudding,
Yeah.
Alice, for the Solid Rock Teen Center out in Arizona, that Alice and his wife Cheryl are big
Mhm.
participants in. All of a sudden my phone, blows up, and my incoming mail blows up, and everybody's, "Oh, Dennis is going to be out there." And well, I better call Alice, So I don't always know. I'm not always the first to know when something's going to happen.
50, 51 years since the original band, right?
Yeah,
Recorded.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. 74 was Muscle of Love.
Wow. And in that year, 73, 74, you did two albums in 1 year, too, correct?
Well, we did Love It to Death and Killer the same year. We did, I think, I'm not real clear on all of this, but we were doing about two albums a year back then. But
That's
not only
insane.
that, but unlike every other band in the world, we were also doing two theatrical shows. So we
That's
would
insane.
change the show to go with the theme of the album.
Pressure, a lot of work.
Well, let's face it, the Beatles set the bar high. Look how much they
Touche.
did in such a short period of time. That's back then. The thought was, you as soon as your single had its run, you wanted to have something ready to go.
Yeah.
And to the point where, when fans talk to me about, "Oh, well, that was the Love It to Death era." Well, the fans' Love It to Death era was our Killer era, because we were already working on Killer.
What did I do to deserve such a fate?
Neal kept track of what date it was, I think because he's from Ohio, and my wife did because she wrote her daily diaries for
Mm.
everything that happened. In fact, she's writing a book now, and she's going through all of those letters that her and Neal wrote home to their mother, telling her what's going on, and all of her daily diaries. And we're finding out stories that neither one of us remembered at all. It's going to be great.
Take you back. Here you are, 50 something years later. for the fans out there, but you did have kind of a reunion because a couple of years back, you and the OG guys did some live shows with Alice.
Yeah, well, like I said, we did the Christmas pudding a few times, including one, the most recent one, which is still going back quite a few years now. We had Joe Bonamassa and Johnny Depp playing guitars with us. Uh, but and so little by little things came back together. But I think one of the big ones was this guy, Chris Penn, a bigger than life guy in Dallas, Texas, had a record store. And when I put out my book, Snakes, Guillotines, Electric Chairs, My Adventures in the Alice Cooper Group, he talked me into doing a book signing at his record store. And then he said he had a stage and would I be interested in playing some songs? And I said, oh, let me see if I can get Neal and Michael to come out. And then what I didn't know is Chris knew that Alice was going to be in town and that would be his day off. So then we talked Alice into doing this surprise uh, appearance with us. And we played about 7 songs or so without any rehearsal at all. Just the sound check was basically Neal making sure the drums were tuned and me making sure the amp worked and that kind of a thing. And anyway, they recorded that. It was basically supposed to just be for Chris Penn to, on Monday morning, he could for him to believe that it actually happened. That's what he said. But the film and the recording came out so well that they made a movie out of it. So that was released, and the album was released, and Bob Ezrin helped whip the sound into shape. This guy, Stephen Gaddis, in Texas, did the film. And that had a lot to do with it because now it's not just us sitting in with somebody, it's us, just the original group with actually Ryan Roxy sat in with us as well, who's always great, you know. The tricky part about that is Ryan on stage with Alice usually plays Michael's guitar parts. So now Michael's involved. So now they had a little quick refresher to make sure they were going to be playing. He's going to be playing Glenn's parts. So of course Ryan figured that out really fast. But so then also my book, I think, helped bring people together, and obviously us, the original group, as opposed to Alice solo being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2011, that brought us together because we performed there. So little by little, you know, these things kept pulling the band back together, and it all led up to this finally.
Oh, Chris recently passed away.
Yeah, man, this one is a big blow to everybody that knew him or even people that ordered records from his record store, because when it would arrive, he'd put so many extras in there, it was like Christmas. And he had a lot to do with getting a lot of bands, Polyphonic Spree, St. Vincent was a good friend of his, and Tripping Daisy, a lot of Texas people, you know. In fact, I think it was St. Vincent that coined the phrase that everybody uses, thank God for Chris Penn.
Wow. Very cool.
So sad to have him gone. He fell off a ladder in his record store.
Is that what happened?
He was peeling a sticker off the front window to redo the window in the record store, and he fell off the ladder and landed on his back and ended up paralyzed from the neck down. And then while he was in the hospital, he got pneumonia and this and that. And even though his spirits were up, I mean, to the point where he was even planning record store day by people would point at letters on a board, and he would blink his eyes if it was the right letter. And the first thing he communicated was order more records for record store day. And then he was even organizing a benefit concert to help pay for his medical bills. That concert, I hear, is still going to happen, once people mourn a bit, because it's a heavy blow.
That is
But
it. Yeah.
but the spirit of Chris Penn will live on because he was such a positive guy, and he made so many things happen for other people.
Mr. Dennis Dunaway. We're going to bring more of Dennis coming your way. Make sure you hit the notifications tab and subscribe so you don't miss those upcoming episodes. You can catch this episode unedited in our members only club or in Patreon. In the meantime, make sure you pre-order The Revenge of Alice Cooper. Links are in the description down below. Click right above your screen right here. Now, click on your screen for our next episode. Until then, who loves you, baby? We do. Thanks for watching. And post your comments down below. We always love to hear from you.